How we doing, everybody? Welcome back to the garage. We are going to go ahead and finish up that Jeep with all its leaky problems and get back to building that audio system. In my last video, I said I was going to do a lot of off-camera work on this Jeep, and I ended up doing that. As you can see, the Jeep is laying right on the concrete because, let me tell you guys, God has not blessed me with height. The engine and everything under the hood is fully back together, so hopefully let's do the sign of the cross or pray to whatever God you believe in, and let's hope this thing does not leak. And on a side note, am I the only one that believes Jeep's hoods do this on purpose? So not only do I have wheels to put on, I got fenders to put on, and I've got some fluids to put in this thing. After that's all said and done, I'm going to go ahead and build that custom fuse holder for the battery mount. And I should probably clean up those battery terminals. Yeah, might as well do that. Let's get going. Tires are back on the Jeep. Jeep's sitting on the ground, and some of you may be wondering why I didn't put the fenders on first. Let me show you. Thanks to the state of Illinois and the way they salt the roads, or me not cleaning out my wheel wells, but then again, I've only owned this Jeep for 4 years. Those bolts are broken. I figured today's a good day to go ahead and fix them. The other thing is, I have taken these fenders off constantly, so I bought a box of this. It's from Dorman. It is, there's the part number for all you Jeep guys. And it's replacement fender clips, which come in handy because every time you take the fenders off, they break. And I'm down to 3, so hopefully I don't need more than 3 for both sides. Jeep is back on the ground. All 4 wheels are installed and torqued. Fenders are on, so now we're going to fill this thing with some fluids and watch it leak. Because if I didn't put the fenders on or the wheels on, it wouldn't leak. But now that I put it all back together and reused most of the clips that I have for the fenders, I'm sure it's going to leak. Guys, I added a quart of ATF plus 4 to the Jeep. I got to fill that new trans cooler, and it's been leaking for a while, so it's going to need minimum a quart. I'm going to check it again here in a little bit when it gets up to operating temperature, and then we'll go from there. And by the way, did you guys know Tom Skilling from WGN and Rihanna share a birthday? He's retiring, by the way. So I got a couple different ways that I could refill the coolant here. And, you know, guys, I bought this contraption because I saw it online and I read about it, and I'm like a child and I had to have it. But I've never really used it. And the concept is that it creates a vacuum in the system with shop air, and then you dump this into your jug of coolant, or in my case, a bucket of old coolant, and it just kind of sucks it in and replaces all the air with coolant. So I've got this thing down to about 22 pounds of pressure right now. I got both of the valves closed, and we're going to go ahead and sit for a little bit and see if it holds the vacuum. If it holds the vacuum, we're leak free. If it doesn't, then I got to go find a leak. So in the instructions on this fancy contraption, it shows to go ahead and create a vacuum no more than 24 Newton pounds or vacuum pounds, or the gauge. Don't go more than 24. And I've been sitting at about 22 and a half, and according to the instructions, it says wait 20 seconds. I've been waiting probably about 5-10 minutes now, and it's holding the vacuum. You can see my upper radiator hose is completely collapsed because of the vacuum that we got going on. So I think we're good. There's nothing pouring out underneath the Jeep, which is always a plus. So I got my Harbor Freight bucket here, and from what the instructions say, and now mind you guys, I've never used this dang thing before, so let's unhook the air from this, and then, according to what the instructions say, you drop this guy into your bucket, and since this is a bucket full of old coolant, I'm going to go ahead and use this paint strainer because I don't want to introduce any contaminants into my cooling system. And then it says you're supposed to open this valve here, and you can see, there we go. Look at that. This thing's cool. Now, I'm not opening it all the way. Like I said, I've never used this thing. And according to the instructions, it says pull that gauge all the way down to 0. And once it's all the way down to 0, you should be full. You can also see my upper radiator hose is expanding as I'm doing this. So we still got some coolant in here, and we are down to 0. However, the radiator's full. So my vacuum cooling system refill tool worked actually very well. Radiator was full, but I decided to go ahead and throw this funnel on here to get rid of any excess air that was in the system. Running the vehicle, got the heat on blast, so it goes through the heater core, and you'll see this thing should get rid of some air. Not 100% sure what happened to the audio on this clip, but this is a voiceover. So with my little funnel, I went ahead and got rid of the remainder of the air. I ended up throwing another quart of trans fluid in because it was low when I ended up checking it. As this thing was running, it hiccuped a little bit through a check engine light, which was an airflow lean code. And here, I went ahead and cleaned the throttle body on this thing while I had it all apart. And you know what? I sprayed a lot of chemicals in the intake manifold, so it's not uncommon for something like that to hiccup. So I cleared the codes, and now I'm driving it, and it seems like it's got good power. There wasn't any leaks under the Jeep when I was doing all that stuff, so I'm kind of hopeful that we are good to go. Jeep. Every time you push the gas pedal, that's 3 gallons of gas. Jeep. Let's get rid of the super reliable 4-liter and put a minivan motor in these things. Jeep. Let's make the most noisy, bouncy car ever. And people that don't know any better will keep buying them. The funny thing is, I do know better. I just still buy them. So it is not hiccuped, it is not stumbled, it is ran actually pretty well. The gauges are all where they're supposed to be, except that gas gauge keeps just going that way. Temperature gauge, running cool, heat's working great. I'm gonna call this done as long as I don't see any giant puddles underneath this thing when I park it. We're good. Nope, we're not. Test drive was going really well until it wasn't. I've got to figure this out, but I got to clean up a little bit first. But one thing as a plus, there's no puddles under this thing. So it ain't leaking any fluids. Seems like I got a vacuum leak somewhere, or some component failed. God. Remember what I said about Jeep's hoods doing this? So, I may have figured out the problem, and it may have been something stupid. There is a vacuum hose way in the back that I forgot to go ahead and hook up. So, I rehooked it up. I started this thing up, so we're going to let it run for a little while. Maybe take it for another test drive and see how she does. You know, all I really want to do is just build something, not fix this dang thing. The Honda is 100% leak-free. Yeah, look at it. There's nothing underneath there, guys. And it is running beautiful. So, let's see what we can do with this thing. I don't know. Hopefully this isn't how I'm spending the rest of my day. Remember what I said about taking the fender off? Or putting it back on, I should say? Well, I may have found the issue, and it's idling a lot better right now, and that EGR valve, which is right there, I went ahead and undid it, repositioned the hose, and torqued down the bolts, made sure the gasket was in the right spot, and it's running a lot smoother now. So we're gonna let it run a little bit longer and see if this actually corrected the issue. That wasn't it. You can see how lumpy it's running and hear how horrible it sounds. I'm not 100% sure what's going on. I'm calling it for today. Either next week I'm going to start building a sub enclosure for this thing, or I'm going to push it out on the driveway and light it on fire. Stay tuned, because either way, it's going to be fun. Thanks, guys. See you next time.